The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by WorkSimple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
We begin on the tracks, rails stretching beyond the horizon. Each tie a memory, each rail a promise of where we might go. In the early years, our first logo appeared, a pioneer stepping onto the platform of possibility. Through seasons of growth, change, and challenge, we moved forward. The whistle of opportunity sounded, and we boarded the train of time. The view changed with every mile, some stations brief, others lasting. Our logos changed too, not just emblems, but mile markers of evolution. Along the way, seats filled with teammates, mentors, veterans, and friends. Some stayed for the ride, others stepped off, leaving their legacy on the rails behind us. And still, the journey continues. The tracks ahead stretch into the unknown, familiar yet full of new promise. What matters most is how we travel, with purpose, with grit, with heart. Because the journey matters, the movement matters, and the legacy of those logos, every year, every show, lives on in the rhythm of these rails. So here we are once again, all aboard. The whistle blows, the tracks call. Together, we ride. We are the H-Train Show, showing veterans programs beyond the VA since 2015. H is in the building now.
Let's go! Are you ready for the H-Train Show?
It's coming live.
I took the oath. 20 years I gave my soul. Sandstorms, fire, a roadside blast. Everything I knew shattered fast.
You haven't seen nothing yet! Woo!
Drowning in turmoil, 15 meds, mine in a haze. Living felt like a permanent death. Still standing, scarred and proud. Crushed by war, but I won't stay down. Voice of the broken, thunder in my chest with freedom fighters rising from the wreck. Parents pulled me from the edge of night, pushed me forward back into the light. Ski boots on, carving through pain. Found my fire on that frozen terrain. Said I was too old to beat the race, so I trained like hell, put them in their place. From slurred words to a podium stand, yeah, I'm racing with lightning in my hands. Still standing, scarred and proud. Crushed by war, but I won't stay down. From Kokomo to Olympic slopes, we're the freedom fighters born to cope. Now I take the mic, not a rifle. Broadcast truth, yeah, that's survival. Paralyzed, but still I lead. With every word we plant a seed. Still standing, warriors loud. Can't break us, we screaming proud. Not wounded, we're on the attack. Freedom fighters, and we're taking it back. Freedom fighters, yeah, yeah. Keep rising.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by WorkSimple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
Stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Red Friday, July 10th, 2026. And boy, do we have a fantastic show for you today. I am joined with my co-host, my good battle buddy, Charles. Amber is a little bit away for an appointment today. So, Charles, thank you for sitting in for her. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Joel.
Uniform now. So, okay, so check this out. Right off the bat, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show. Our only mission here is to show all of our veterans and our first responders and all our men and women in uniform all over the world that there are more programs out there beyond the VA. My name's H Train, and Charles is my co-host, and today we are on MBR, letting our voices be heard. When you are, if you're on TikTok, which we've got a few people on TikTok, my baddies group is here, and I appreciate you guys coming in and make sure that you refresh, tap, and heart me and all that good stuff. Make sure you do that. We have a fantastic show for you playing today. I can't hardly pronounce it, but Vinlandferth. It's a nonprofit that has built a Viking ship. They're doing a charity goal raising across the sea. There's been many of these opportunities in the past 5 years, but I don't think anyone has finished it. It's pretty hard. So we're going to find out more about them as that comes up at the top of the hour. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, what everybody likes and I love, it is time for Mail Call.
Attention, mail call.
Oh my God!
He's got mail.
Welcome to Mail Call, your soldier spotlight, powered by WorkSimple, highlighting those who serve and inspire.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's mail call, we want to recognize the Freedom Ruck March, bringing veterans together. A lot of people were doing a lot of great things for this year's 4th of July, this 250th birthday of the United States, and this situation is no different. Finally, a 9-year-old Elisa and his mother, Virginia Fernandez, they crossed the finish line after competing the 4-mile route under Loretta's sun as veterans and active duty service members, families, and other community members erupted in applause. Everybody made it. Solace told the crowd after the march, even the little one at the end. There he is, who stayed at the very back to make sure nobody was slacking. The 5th annual 4th of July Freedom Ruck March drew about 120 participants, and this was in Florida, I believe. And Ruck March drew, according to organizers, though they did not conduct an official count, the march took participants from Peg Energy Stadium to Casablanca's Event Center and back. It was one of 3 annual rec marches organized by the VFW, along with Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Fernandez, a retired U.S. Navy veteran of 20 years, said the march gave her an opportunity to share her first Freedom Ruck with her son while teaching him about military service. Sanchez said that beyond the miles and the symbolic weight many participants carry, there is an even deeper reason organizers continue holding the march year after year. I know veterans struggle a lot with mental health, he said. In an event like this, we get to talk to each other. We get to see how everybody's doing. We get to exchange numbers and build that camaraderie outside of this event. That's big. This camaraderie within the city was not around, she said. Now you see it and, the smiles. So I think it's very important we instill that in our kids. It's important that they understand the tradition. Fernandez hopes to pass on to her son, begin with a much smaller group of veterans. Army veteran Ray Sanchez, one of the event's original organizers, said that the tradition began about 9 years ago after he created a Facebook event to invite others to join him on the ruck marches. He usually competed on his own. About 10 people attended that first walk, including Solis and several other local veterans. We now have veterans from every war and every military branch, just all types of people, he said. I also want to emphasize that it's open to civilians. If you're a patriot, you love this country, and you celebrate America's beautiful, you're welcome to show up. And ladies and gentlemen, that is today's mail call. All right, in other news, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the top news of the day.
Week in Review.
Next stop, Week in Review.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, one of the things that is brand new, well, I shouldn't say brand new, Charles. And you know what? At least we have HG this time to give us a brief 2-minute clip of it. But you've heard of the Super Bowl. Now you hear the World Cup, the first ever FIFA World Cup final halftime show.
Wow.
Now, this was fun. It was a positive story that appeals to a broad audience. FIFA is introducing the first ever halftime show during the World Cup final, featuring major artists, including Shakira, Coldplay, Justin Bieber, Madonna, and BTS. It's a huge change to one of the world's biggest sporting events in the country. And, you know, I've heard so many people joke around talking about, hey, you know, the Super Bowl, I don't know why they call it world champions, because they don't play, in Europe. They only play in the United States, so it can't be world champions. Well, you know, this is literally the World Cup. This is soccer, and soccer is getting really, really popular. In fact, I find it amusing that, especially like when the Olympics, nobody really pays attention to like the skiing and the soccer or the basketball or any of that stuff during the year, but everybody tunes in for that Super Bowl, that the Olympic games, you know. And I don't think the World Cup's any different, because this has been going on for such a long time. But since it was played here in the United States, I think it's getting more attention. Unfortunately, USA played Belgium and they lost like 4-1, right?
Yeah, they got.
Yeah, what was the deal with that, HG? Did they show up drunk or something?
Well, I think it's a mix of a lot of things. A lot of these guys don't like play here in the States in the MLS. They haven't really, like, there aren't a lot of them that are in like the Premier League or like the big soccer leagues over in Europe and South America or in Africa, like where all the major soccer leagues are. And so it was a massive game for them. And then you add this the scandal that, you know, like they went from being a fun, you know, up and coming team to the villains because of Trump getting involved in the overturning of that suspension. I'm not super familiar with FIFA's bylaws and all of that, but apparently from other people that were more familiar with soccer, that a government interference of any kind in a matter of FIFA, according to Article, I think 2 and 15 was what I was hearing.
Wow.
Should result in immediate disqualification from a tournament. Wow. And so it's that storm of that, like, you're already coming into like the biggest game of your career, and now all of a sudden, like, you're kind of the villain. And I think that, like, you saw that with like a lot of like, the pressure of the moment.
You're just giving them material, bulletin board material.
Right.
I know exactly what
Belgium
you mean.
had a chip on their shoulder, and these guys, our guys, were not ready for the moment. They were They were very timid. They weren't aggressive.
Just like the Broncos against Seattle and New York. Yeah, I get it. Now,
goals 1 and 2 were just like absolutely inexcusable. That's just god awful defending.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, at this level, you just can't be doing.
Wow. Well, I know
these looks.
I know that it was pretty even. Like at halftime, it was like 2-1, or it was pretty even. But here's a question for our listeners, our viewers, and please leave it in the comment. Please leave it in the podcast once this video cast, podcast, whatever you want to call it, once it posts. But the question is: should soccer adopt more American style entertainment or leave tradition alone? That's the number one question. And the number two: will this make the World Cup even bigger, or is this what it is? It is what it is, and it's just going to be an ordinary day. Tomorrow. I do know that the Colorado Rapids, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, they won like the World Trophy or whatever.
They won the MLS.
Yeah, and like, nobody knew until like 5 days later, it's like, okay, you guys don't have that much support, but your team is really good. So that's
well, I'll to answer one of your questions.
Okay, real quick.
The World Cup, it's not that big here in the States. I mean, it was pretty big this year, but like on it like usually over the course of its of the tournament, it like cumulatively acquired gets like 5 billion views, the whole planet.
No, I know, but when I say we'll just make the World Cup even bigger, I'm talking about here in the United States. I already know it's big over Europe, but so listeners, viewers, let me know what you think. Give me your comments. And our second story is: scientists warns that a powerful El Nino could be developing. Meteorologists, there's a high chance a strong El Nino develops later this year, potentially bringing more extreme weather, heat, droughts, and flooding around the world. And the discussion questions that I have, again, have you noticed weather becoming more unpredictable where you live? I don't know about you, but here in Colorado, hey, I see it. It's a drought here in Colorado. And I think it's funny. They made such a big deal with fireworks, and they just reported that only one citation here in Denver was posted, but this was probably the loudest 4th of July that I've ever been a part of, Charles.
Really?
Every 5 minutes I was hearing pop, 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 and they're still popping them after July 5th. So, it's crazy to me how Denver can make such a big. I mean, they were placing cops outside the fire stands and giving people tickets, but yet they're not going to give people tickets that are actively firing them. I just think that's kind of funny. Denver called the police on their bluff. That's all I can say about that. And listeners and viewers, another question, please answer in the comments, because I want this to be more interactive. Are communities doing enough to prepare for the extreme weather? And that answer is, I don't believe so, because we are here in Colorado. Like, we had a really crappy winter. Like, it didn't really snow much at all. It's hardly raining. My watering days for the sprinkler system went from 3 days to 2 days. It's really bad, Charles. How is it in your neck of the woods?
How was winter here? It's pretty mild. I really liked it because we had a lot of warm days this year. And we didn't have anything like 20 below zero or nothing this year. It was just pretty mild. Stayed in the 30s. Sometimes got a little bit below, but probably didn't get colder than 5 degrees more than 3 days in a row.
And Joy said that it felt like 106 at 6 p.m. yesterday there in her area. Whew, that's crazy. And Joy, I hope you got that red shirt. Man, if she didn't get that red shirt, maybe I need to start doing the insurance thing. And the next story that I wanted to bring up, the last story is last chance for some Americans to claim the IRS refunds. July 10th is the deadline for eligible taxpayers to claim certain COVID-era tax refunds. It's practical information that could help you today. So if you haven't, make sure that you hit that. And while we're on the word, okay, I'll look into it, Joy. And while we're on the subject of taxes, something brand new, and I want to explain to everybody how this is working. Trump's new accounts for children. So if your child was born July 1st, 2025, then they are automatically qualified for $1,000 seed money right into the account. But if it was before like 2024, well, President Donald Trump's administration has launched a new investment program called Trump Accounts, also known as the 530A accounts. To help children begin building long-term wealth, the accounts officially became available on July 4th, 2026. You're asking who qualifies? Well, I'm getting ready to tell you. Any child under the age of 18 can have a Trump account open. Children born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, who are U.S. citizens with a valid Social Security number are eligible for $1,000 federal starter deposit. How does this work? Well, the money is invested in a low-cost U.S. stock market index fund. Parents, grandparents, relatives, and others can contribute up to $5,000 per year. The account grows through investment returns over time. When can the child use this money? Well, the funds generally stay invested until the child turns 18. At that point, the account transitions to rules similar to traditional IRAs, with tax rules applying when money is withdrawn. Some reports describe potential uses such as education, buying a first home, and retirement savings. But the IRS guidance treats the account under traditional IRA rules. Why does the administration create it? Supporters say the goal is to encourage families to invest early, help children benefit from the long-term compound growth, give every eligible newborn a financial head start with a $1,000 government contribution. What are critics saying about this? Well, some financial planners have raised concerns that 529 college savings plans may still be a better choice if the family's primary goal is to paying for college, because it offers tax-free withdrawals for qualified education expenses. Trump accounts are more focused on long-term investing in retirement than on education savings. So here's my question to you, listeners and viewers. Please put it in the comments for your chance to win a beaker. If the government gave your child or grandchild $1,000 to invest, would you take advantage of it? Do you think programs like this encourage families to save more for the future? And last but not least, would you choose a Trump account or a $529 college savings plan for your kids, and why? And ladies and gentlemen, that is today's news. And before we go on break, because we're getting into that section, and I hope I'm not like stealing on thunder here, Charles. You know, I'm just trying to keep us on time. That's all. But ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Beaker Award for the most donated for this month is Carolyn. Carolyn, she hosts the show of Conversations with a Vet that comes on every Sunday, I believe at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Military Broadcast Radio TV, which you can find on the Roku app or Amazon Fire Stick, whichever platform you prefer. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we're going to go on our first commercial break. And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, would you drink your own urine if someone on the internet told you it would make you healthier? Wait. Until you see this week's What the F, you won't believe what people are claiming. Stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H-Train Show on the station that's letting our veterans' voices be heard, MBR. Stay with us.
walk with me down by the riverside, and maybe you'll see the world is changing, but it's nothing strange. We got to try our best just to rearrange. We saw the falling of the Berlin Wall as the people cried freedom, answered the call. On the radio and on the TV, then we sleep at night forever in our dreams. So let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for all to hear. Oh, let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for you, my dear. We saw the coming of the desert storm, and as our soldiers left, many lives were torn. The past is gone, but they still couldn't see the cost of freedom is never free. They battled hard as the world watched along. We kept our fingers crossed that none came harm. When the armistice was signed that day, it proved that once again there is only one way. So let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for all to hear. Oh, let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for you, my dear. We walked along under the bright moonlight. I kissed your cheek and I held you tight. The love we share is a gift from above. The way we live came from freedom's arm. We take for granted that tomorrow will be just like every day in the land of the free. So help me God if it would ever change. I'm gonna fight like hell. Freedom reigns. So let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for all to hear. Oh, let freedom ring. Oh, let freedom ring for you, my
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by Work Simple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.we.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And once again, you listen to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show. And ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. It is the WTF segment.
The WTF.
Oh my goodness, Joel.
He told me to drink my own urine and it'll fix what I have going on. Okay, dude, I have to say, it worked. This is the oldest ancient medicine known to man. It's true. Let's talk about it.
Urine therapy works because
it's signaling the body with all the information of what is actually poisoning
Literally,
you.
communication molecules, if you will.
Exactly. If you could say the biggest problem in life is toxins that are causing disease, then the antibodies are concentrated in the urine, but it's blood that's filtered through the kidneys. And that's why it's sterile or sterile-like, more purified than the blood, and so therefore it's the safest way to consume.
Babies drink their urine in utero constantly, right?
Yeah, hundreds of milliliters per day, urinating every 1 to 3 hours. And from 8 weeks on, the urine is then used to form their organs. Right. It's particularly their lungs.
Every country in the world utilizes this technology, really, especially in ancient cultures, to get things well. Except in this country, it's looked at as, oh my gosh, stay away from your urine. You hope that changes.
Exactly. That's the future. To me, it's the only way out of this system because it's universally accessible and everyone can play.
And believe it or not, everybody, like it's even though we are like, yeah, that's like, I guess it's true, but let's talk about this. Let's dive into this, okay? I can tell you that cucumbers are healthy too, but you don't see me eating those.
That's different. You know, like you hear about vampires, right? What would you call a person that drinks their own urine? Because he said it's the blood that's filtered. I don't know.
You know,
healthier than blood.
Interesting you brought that up with like Dracula, because so there are, I don't know if it's a disease or a sickness, but there are people that drink blood. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is drinking somebody else's blood is so dangerous. Like it will literally shut down your system. It will shut down your heart if you drink somebody else's blood. I didn't know that until recently. In fact, like when you get like a heart transplant or something, they give you medication that kind of like tricks the body thinking that it's your
rejecting it.
Exactly. You know? So is this the same thing as urine? Like, can you drink somebody else's urine? Yeah. Or does it have to be yours? You know, so many questions are coming to mind.
Here's something you might not know. Being from the bottled water industry, I know a lot of different countries have this thing called cow water, and it's one of the ingredients in their drinks, and it's actually cow urine, but they call it cow water. And I'm wondering if that's probably part of, you know, what he's talking about.
I don't know. Me personally, I'm not going to take any health advice from a guy that's wearing what looks to be a Spirit Halloween lab coat over a polo shirt and shorts in what appears to be a convention center. That's just me.
Well, Dr. Dietz says it's better to be pissed off than pissed on, but don't drink your own urine.
Or pissed in.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, listeners, viewers, what do you think? You know?
Reason, Joel, like God created us to reject the poison. That's one of the ways to get rid of the stuff that's not supposed to stay in, right?
Right. Hey, and maybe that's the reason why we like beer so much. So, you know, some people say there's piss water. Maybe that's the reason why we acquire a taste. You know, maybe it brings us back into the times. I don't know.
I think Charles makes a great point, though. If it was meant to, you know, if there was something positive for us in there, it would stay in our bodies. There's a reason it's filtered, it's forced out, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know this, but just an idea. Are there things that are healthy for us as babies, but then when we get older, they're not healthy for us anymore?
Well, there's probably something different with creation and formulation of your body than what a full-grown adult needs, right? I mean, we get weaned off our mama's breast milk at an early age. Some earlier than others.
That's a good point. Like, it's just milk, but like, if somebody handed me a cup and said, "Hey, this is breast milk," like, I'm not like Joey from Friends. I'm not gonna drink it, you know.
Come on, Joel. We know you'd have it there in your little coffee maker with that frother. And...
Yeah.
The Homeland approach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for that educational part, which I've heard from several people that they love this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Drop the Date.
Today in history.
ladies and gentlemen, today for your July 10th, 2026 drop the date, we're talking about Operation Husky. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another drop the date. Today we're going back in time, July 10th, 1943. I didn't know this. Maybe you guys did, but I didn't know this. Today we're going back when Allies launched Operation Husky. You're asking, what is Operation Husky? Well, it was the invasion of Sicily during World War II. While most people know about D-Day in Normandy, far fewer know that the road to victory in Europe really began on the beaches of Sicily. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that. By the summer of 1943, the Allied forces had already pushed Axis troops out of North Africa. The next challenge was deciding whether to strike next. Their answers was Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean and the key strategic location controlled by Italy and Nazi Germany. In the early hours of July 10th, more than 160,000 American, British, and Canadian troops began landing on Sicily's southern shores. Better tell Trump that. They were supported by thousands of ships and aircrafts in what was, at the time, the largest amphibious invasion in military history. The operation didn't start perfectly. Strong winds scattered many of the airborne troops, and rough seas made the beach landing very difficult. Despite those obstacles, Allied forces fought their way inland, overcoming determined resistance from German and Italian forces. Over the next several weeks, Allied troops captured town after town, steadily pushing the enemy back. The campaign wasn't easy. Thousands of service members lost their lives, and many more were wounded. But their determination paid off. The victory in Sicily had consequences far beyond the island itself. Just 2 weeks later, on July 25th, 1943, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was removed from the power. Hey, I pronounced that right because I've heard that name. I'm proud of myself. Italy's government began moving towards surrender, forcing Germany to divert troops and resources to defend the Italian mainland. This weakens Hitler's grip on Europe and helped pave the way for Normandy invasion less than a year later. Operation Husky proved that Allied forces could successfully coordinate large-scale land, sea, and air operation. It has also demonstrated that the courage, the resilience, and the teamwork of the men and women who served under incredibly difficult conditions. Today, as we remember July 10th, let's honor the American service members and our Allied partners who took part in Operation Husky. Their sacrifice helped turn the tide of World War II and brought the world one step closer to peace. I'm H Train, and that is your drop the date for July 10th. Remember, history isn't just about dates on a calendar. It's about the people whose courage changed the world. All right, let's get into it. I think that's amazing. I like the drop the date. I didn't know about that. Did you know about that, Charles?
About that particular one? No.
Yeah.
There were so many things that happened during World War II that were great and very awful at the same time.
Right. Yeah, and man, I tell you what, I think during World War I, World War II, I mean the greatest generation of our veterans, I mean, that was not a political war. That was literally fighting for not only our freedom, but fighting for France and Germany and all those.
For all the European countries, because if we wouldn't have joined in, Hitler would have won.
Oh yeah,
You know,
most definitely. And
then we would have had a superpower, which is the whole like 2 continents or something instead of just the small superpowers across the world now.
it's just nuts. We all know that D-Day happened, June 7th, and then this happened. I'm learning a lot in history. Did you know about that, HG?
I had never heard of it before. This is the
I didn't either.
first time hearing of it.
Yeah, my
That's
grandpa,
interesting.
he was in the Navy, and he was the guy that would run the people up on shore on the boats, and then they would get off, and he'd go back, get more soldiers, and bring them back. And my uncle did the same thing, but he was on, we called him my uncle. He was actually just my grandpa's best friend, and yeah, my uncle or my great uncle was in Normandy there, and then my grandpa, he was in other places, but he said it was pretty tough, and he didn't talk like about that stuff at all until I went to school to be a preacher, and then he opened up, and started selling me some things. So,
yeah, my grandpa during World War II, I mean, God rest his soul, he passed away, but his job in the military was a baker. He taught people how to bake bread on the ship. Every little job counts. That's one thing that I learned is every little job really counts. But listeners, viewers, what are your thoughts? Some of the questions that we have for the drop the date. Put those questions real quick up, HG. The questions that we have is, why do you think Operation Husky is often overlooked compared to D-Day, even though it was so important?
There were so many things that were so important during this time, Joel, that that were overlooked, and things that we'll never know about that were probably just as integral as D-Day or Husky.
I'll be straightforward, honest. Like, I didn't even know about Hamburger Hill until I watched the movie. Isn't it incredible when you watch these movies and it brings up these battles? There's so many battles, In fact, like, when I got hit in Iraq, like that event that hit, like, everybody knows about it. Everybody knew about it, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we remember that time." And it's like these events, they might not be in like history books because there's so many events, but real people that live through it, they share the story, and that's the reason why NBR TV is so important, because not only does it let veterans express how they feel and give the community the support and second chance, but it also teaches people about what's going on, because you'll never see what happened, like literally what happened in Iraq or Afghanistan on the front page. You just won't, because they're not going to place that. It'll be like political stuff or anything, but never will you see it on the front page. And it's really important to people understand like what we're doing there. We're not going over Iraq, with our feet in the sand. We're not going over there for, oh, we get to see the world. That we're not seeing the world in the right way. I think it's important for people to recognize that. So, second question, and HG, I'll let you talk on this as well. What does the success of Operation Husky tell us about teamwork and determination in achieving big goals?
Well, obviously there had to be a lot of collaboration and determination to get something like this done, and I think it just really highlights that that's the most important thing when you are trying to achieve these lofty goals, is that one, it can't, you can't do it alone, and you have to want to do it,
Right.
Yeah, I like this was that's the Italian forces certainly didn't want to give this island up for nothing. So I mean that was they really had to a lot of strategic planning, whether it was from the commanders and generals that were all planning it to the troops that were landing on the beaches of Sicily. That took they all had to be in sync and all had to be equally determined in their objectives there. I could have just have easily failed.
I agree.
And that's, I mean, like multiple different countries too. You were saying it was obvious America,
right?
English, Canadian forces, like all. Am I forgetting? So there was a fourth one, wasn't there? Or was it those three?
Well, I'm pretty sure France they fought with us too.
Right. Okay. I wasn't sure if they still had. Yeah, they probably still had some soldiers around. Even though they were occupied.
I will say this. One thing that I learned when I first started doing the nonprofit work is you never appreciate a coordinated event until you coordinate an event on your own. You learn real quick to appreciate it. It's not easy. And to coordinate a war with like latitude and longitude and all that stuff, that takes not only patience, but that takes skill as well. So that's a huge thing. But hey, it is that time, everybody. We are almost at the top of the hour. We've got a couple of brand new songs that we're going to be playing. That includes David Brody, a good friend of mine that he created and worked on his music in Germany. And now he's just now getting videos and his music out there. And then if you're familiar with Shannon Book, he has a brand new song out called American Made. We're going to be playing that here today as well. So with that said, we're going to go on commercial break. Stay with us because when we come back, we're going to be talking with this nonprofit called Vinlandferth, who is preparing to do their nonprofit organization. They're historically doing this. Well, just stay with us. Don't go away. We're going to bring them on after break, and they're going to explain what they're doing and how you can support them as a military community. So whatever you do, stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA, right here on the station. Let's let our voices be heard. NBR TV. Stay with us. Coming up now.
Well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things in life? If I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things for my family? Always under pressure, now I stare it at the sun. I'll ride these wings to heaven, what I did is what I've done. And if I died tomorrow, would you come visit me? Wipe off my headstone, maybe rake some leaves, play some pretty flowers and get down on your knees. Maybe say we miss you, then come back another week. Never take for granted your time on this earth. Live each day like it's your last. Love the ones you hold dear. Oh, well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things in life? If I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things for my family? And did I do the right things for my family? And did I do the right things for my family? Well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. I do the right things in life? And if I die tomorrow, yeah, who will remember me? And did I do the right things for my family? Always under pressure, now I stare it at the sun. I'll ride these wings to heaven, what I did is what I've done. And if I die tomorrow, and if I die tomorrow, would you come visit me? Wipe off my headstone, maybe rake some leaves, place some pretty flowers, and get down on your knees. Maybe say we miss you, then come back another week. Never take for granted your time on this earth. Live each day like it's your last. Love the ones you hold dear.
In the day when everything that was made was brought to life by American soul. Promises kept and differences made to keep alive a dying trade, 'cause we believed hard work made it so. Sworn to the black to keep safe our way of life and how we're raised, 'cause we're not gonna lose what we stand for. In the black, and we're never looking back. You may never like what I do, or all the ways I make it through. Well, I'm not gonna change, and you don't have to stay. Welcome to American Made. Was won, battles were fought, and wrongs were done, but we stand on the right side of our hearts. And though things are bleak, we'll never run. We've all stood fast to face the gun. Our lives are pledged to prevent tyranny start. We are guarded in the back, and we're never looking back. You may never like what we do.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by Work Simple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the H Train Show, where here our only mission is to show our veterans and our first responders all the programs out there beyond the VA. Right here on the station, let's let our voices be heard, MBR. And man, we have a tremendous guest today. Tremendous guest to where they're going to explain to me what they're doing, what their goal is, and of all things, how our military community can come together and help support them in any way or form. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. Without further ado, today's interview of the week. Oh, we have a whole bunch of people today. Hey, Doug. Hey, Keith. How are you?
What's going on? Good. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. We are. We wasn't planning on so many people. Let's try to square this away a little bit so it's a little bit easier on the. Can you align their pictures for me, HG? So that it's not covering up the number in case people want to call in. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Military Broadcast Radio, where we continue our mission of giving veterans and first responders and everyday heroes a voice. Our next guests are taking history out of the museum and bringing it back to life in an incredible way and imagining sailing across the Atlantic Ocean the same way the Vikings did more than 1,000 years ago. No engines, no modern technology, just skill, determination, and one of history's most legendary ships. That's exactly what this team of Vinlandferth is preparing to do. Their nonprofit organization is building a full-scale, historically accurate 9th century Viking Gokstad ship in Denmark, and I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, using traditional materials and techniques. Their goal to retrace
I can't hear anybody.
History's greatest
maritime
achievements
now I can.
By sailing the replica across the Atlantic to the United States in 2027, while educating people about the Viking history, craftsmanship, leadership, and teamwork and adventures along the way. Joining us today are members of the Vinlandferth crew to talk about the project, what it takes to prepare for an expedition like this, how they're training for the voyage, why preserving history through hands-on experience is so important. Please help me welcome the incredible crew from Vinlandferth to MBR. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Keith and Doug joining us. And do we have another person as well?
Should have Amber as well.
Okay. All right. There you go. I'm going to change this real quick. There we go. So that we can get everybody here. And we'll let's try to fit them all on here.
I'll do my best.
Okay, we got a lot of people. We normally don't have this many people. So, hey, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about you guys yourselves and what inspired you guys to do this.
I mean, Keith, please take the lead.
Oh, he might not be able to hear us.
Okay.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good to go. All right. So my name's Doug. I am a 20-year Navy veteran and general history buff. Nothing to the order that Keith is. And we decided to do this back in 2017. Keith was reading a book about the Norse history and specifically the Viking Age, and he came across the story of an important sea king who is the founder of 7 different clans in Scotland. gentleman by the name
There we
of
go.
Summerled. Oh, Keith's back. So Summerled was a sea king, and Keith's like, wait, my clan is one of those clans. I wonder if I'm related. And so he got a DNA test, and he found out that he indeed was a direct descendant of Summerled, which in and of itself is pretty cool. At the same time, he was trying to figure out what to do in his retirement, so he decided, well, my ancestor was a sea king. Why don't I do that? And so he did a bunch of research and made a bunch of trips and decided on commissioning a boat from the Museum of the Viking ship in Roskilde, Denmark. And it just kind of sat there on the back burner for a while. And then in 2025, he needed some work done on some cloaks. He needed some furs stitched to them. So he had mentioned this to a mutual friend of ours, and our mutual friend said that they knew someone that was capable of doing that and linked us up. So I took the cloaks, did the work, brought them back to him, and then as I was delivering the cloaks, we started talking. And after about 20 minutes of talking about Viking stuff, he finally said, hey, I'm buying a longship. Do you want to be on the crew? And I couldn't disagree with that, but I had to convince my wife. So 2 months after that, I told him, all right, I'm in. And then we very shortly after traveled to Roskilde, Denmark, found or spoke with the people there at the shipyard and came up with the design that would be best fitting for the trip that we wanted to make. And from there, the organization, we started to build it from the ground up, which is interesting in and of itself because neither one of us have any experience in this particular not-for-profit sector and what have you. And so we started recruiting people. We started crewing the ship. We have preferentially recruited veterans because veterans have the ability to enjoy, as one of our veteran crew members says, type 2 fun, meaning that we can embrace the suck for the purpose of the goal.
They were pretty fast acting.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would think that you have to be pretty fast acting on an event such as this. The one question that I have, and I'm gonna give HG a question, and Charles and so on, and I'd love to hear from you as well, Amber. Also, has this ever been done before? Like, has there ever been a ship other than the past? Here I would say like last 10 years. Has there ever been an accomplished mission, or is this like the very first of its kind?
It's not necessarily the very first of its kind in the modern age, but there are some factors that make us unique. So back in the late 1890s, an individual constructed and sailed a direct replica of the Gokstad ship from Norway all the way to the United States and for the World's Fair in 1893, 1894, I think.
Yes.
However, no one has made the trip in a ship our size. So the original Gokstad ship was 23.4 meters. Ours is between 14 and 14.5. So we are physically smaller. The other thing is that any other longship that has made the voyage between that Gokstad replica in the 19th century and today is they've all had modern propulsion equipped. And so the fact that we are doing it with just sail and oar definitely sets us apart from all of the previous stuff.
Now it looks like Keith wants to say something. I'm sorry, Keith. I keep muting you a little bit just because I hear some background noise. But you know, what's your 2 cents on this project?
Well, it's Doug's got everything right. So, he's been a great number 2 guy with me. Really, we're 2 number 1s next to each other, and so we are going to break some records. And one of the records is, as far as we know, no Viking ship has ever sailed down the Mississippi. No working, recreated replica Viking ship built to their standards has gone down the Mississippi before. They have made it as far west as Chicago, and they have made it to New York City. But when we get past Chicago, we'll be breaking all new ground. There was a Viking ship that left from Minnesota, but he didn't go down the Mississippi. He left from Minnesota, he went up to Chicago, and then he went across the Great Lakes. He was gone in the opposite direction of us, and that was about 1968.
Okay.
So, but we are setting records. Like I said, and like Doug said, we have no engine, and we are the old-fashioned way of oars and sail. 18 oars, 9 each side, and then the large square sail, not a Bermuda sail. So the old-fashioned way. 600 to 800 pound mass. It's pretty good.
I can just picture like a Noah's Ark kind of thing.
Oh no, we're much smaller.
Much smaller.
Much smaller.
Okay.
One thing about the ship that is kind of neat if you like history is that, according to the sagas, as close as we can determine, Leif Erikson's ship that actually went to Vinland back in the 10th century was approximately 48 feet, and our ship is approximately 50 feet. So we will be making a very similar voyage to what he did in a ship extremely similar to what he sailed. And that in and of itself is pretty neat to me.
So I take it, and this might be a dumb question, but I take it you guys aren't going to have like a generator and some box fans on the ship just in case there's no wind.
That's what the oars are for, boss. You know?
Yes.
We will have modern solar power generation equipment. We will use modern navigation equipment. We will use modern food. The experimental archaeology portion of the whole voyage is to prove that it could be done in the ship with the power, not necessarily using those navigation techniques.
Right.
Though those sorts of techniques are reserved for lifelong mariners that are schooled in those techniques from birth, and that just doesn't exist. Doesn't exist anymore.
Charles, go ahead and you can ask a question. I'm just here asking. I think this is amazing. Just I can just see fishing on a bridge and seeing those Viking ships show up. You know, it's like, well, you don't see that very much. Like kind of Goonies, you know.
Yeah, where'd y'all source your wood?
And we've got a great dragon head design for the dragon head. A great sail design for the sail. You know, so it's going to look pretty sharp. And you know, I mean, that's not why we're doing it, but for someone like you said, standing on a bridge and here comes this ship,
right?
It's going to look pretty darn sharp. So
I just hope the craftsmanship is good. You guys have people that know how to build a boat, like with wood and stuff, right? Because that could be a really fast bad situation.
Yeah. To answer the question that was asked just before Keith responded to your comment, they're sourcing the wood from the forests of Denmark. We actually have pictures and videos of them selecting the oak trees that became our keel and our stems and our ribs and all of that. the clinkers themselves, which are the boards that go along the side, those are generally made out of a species of pine common in Denmark. It kind of keeps common in Denmark and the rest of Scandinavia. It keeps the overall ship pretty light and more maneuverable. So the
from a sawmill, or did you all do this by hand? Did you hand strip the bark?
The museum is doing it using the old-fashioned methods. So they're using axes and wedges and splitting planks and planing them with adze and all of that stuff. It's entirely old school.
And, that'll make it even more
to
awesome.
Doug's point, they study it, and they actually have college equivalent degrees in wooden boat building, and that is their specialty, and that's what they do for a living. So we're going to go train on the Sea Stallion, and if you've watched the Vikings TV show or The Last Kingdom, the Sea Stallion is often portrayed as one of the boats in those TV shows. So we'll be training on that boat here in the next couple of weeks. So
that was one of my questions, because I never got a picture of the boat you guys are describing. I was wondering if it was to be made or if it was already made and you guys are like, taking weekend trips to go train and stuff like this, or how are you guys practicing?
Yeah, our ship is currently under construction. As far as practicing, we have some connections with the American Tall Ship Association, which are slightly later technology, but they still sail in a very similar fashion. The primary focus that we have for our crew members is endurance. You can train anyone to be a serviceable sailor on those sorts of craft relatively quickly. So when the ship is finished being constructed, we're going to travel to Roskilde 2 weeks before our prospective launch date and train every single day to make sure that everyone is capable. We have specifically recruited subject matter experts that have been sailing for 20, 30, 40 years onto the crew, specifically with those types of ships. And I figure by the time we get to Tórshavn, which is the capital of the Faroe Islands, everyone on the entire crew should have the knowledge base and practice necessary to be considered at least advanced sailors, if not almost expert in this particular type of sailing.
Okay, I actually got a question. I think your social media manager might be the best one to answer this, but when the journey actually begins, are we going to be able to follow you guys along live on social media and get updates on how it's going? And if so, what social media platforms are the best to be able to find those updates and to maybe see what the voyage out at sea is looking like for you?
Our goal is to document the entire process, whether
I'll
it's
let Amber
through
answer that
film.
or Blade.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Our goal is to document the entire process,
hear
whether
me?
it's through film, photography, or even live streaming. Our goal is to make this completely
We're planning-
accessible to everybody following the journey.
Okay.
And this is going to be available on your standard social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook. We want to make you part of the journey with us.
Okay. What's your plan to get the sort of the footage from the, obviously you don't have great signal out there on the open ocean. So is Starlink going to be the plan, or how are you going to go about getting that footage? And
Starlink is the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
We're kicking around a bunch of ideas as to how exactly we're going to execute the streaming, but we will be doing a pretty robust kind of media presence to allow people to follow on with us.
Okay, Charles. Now your question.
Yeah, this is one that most people wouldn't ask, but do you all have your sea legs yet?
I'm a retired sailor.
Oh, okay.
Keith, who is a retired Marine, actually spent more time at sea than I did.
Gotcha.
I about half of our crew are experienced sailors in their own right, using modern equipment, and about a quarter of the crew are sailors experienced in sailing these ships specifically. So, as far as sea legs goes, there might be half a dozen folks that need to figure it out, but the rest of us are good and solid.
Yeah, because I noticed a difference. Like my dad's had sailboats his whole life, and I've been on little 16-footers all the way up to like 48 foot, and I know in some of them you have your sea legs, and some of them you don't, because you've never been in that middle range sailboat. Depending on where your mast is and all that other stuff, it can affect the way it handles. So that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve there that is going to be difficult for a bunch of us to get through. But I believe the 2-week training period in May of 27, everyone should be right as rain by the time we actually set sail on our voyage.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, I don't know if you guys have significant others or partners, but I'm sure that this is going to be a little hard for them as well, because how long is this journey estimated to be?
Somewhere between 90 to 120 days is what we've calculated now. We were originally going to do it in 70 days, but when we took on some sponsors, they wanted us to make some stops to promote their products, and so that expanded our time.
Okay.
Because we're adding stops along the Great Lakes and along the Mississippi also, additional stops other than what we planned.
Then are you guys?
I think for me, I'm actually one of the spouses. My husband is part of the crew, so he will be on that voyage as well. I'm going to keep my land legs. Sea is not for me, but I think it's just about being supportive. I think a lot of the spouses within the group and the community for Vinlandferth are very supportive, and each plays their own part in it, like me with my social media. So I think it's really important to have that support system for each other, and I think we're really gonna get closer as this journey continues.
Now, the one thing I have question is, now we know this event, this mission, okay? Your nonprofit is called the Vinlandferth, right?
Yes.
So now, after this mission is complete, what is your nonprofit? What's the next mission? Like, what do you foresee happening in the next 5 years after you guys accomplish this route?
Well, we intend on building a reproduction Viking village down here on the Gulf Coast and turning it into an educational and entertainment platform to teach people about Norse, Celtic, and Germanic history during the Viking Age. There's a good deal of misinformation out there because of shows like Vikings and Last Kingdom and whatnot that doesn't necessarily show the realities of the people and the time. And so we want to give people the real experience, show them how they worked metal, show them how they wove textiles, show them how they built. And eventually, we also want to have our very own boatyard building these Viking longships right here on the Gulf Coast.
Now, if you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we are interviewing Vinlandferth. It's a nonprofit that is recreating this journey with a Viking boat. If you have a question, make sure you write it in the comments and we can ask that. And if you are able to text, the phone line and text line is open. That number is 720-619-0627. Let your voices be heard. HG, I'm going to let you ask another. We're going to do a whole round of questions again before we go to the time to shine, to give listeners and viewers that opportunity if they have a question or if they want to call in or text them. I think there's more people that watch this show in the afternoon compared to like getting up early and watching the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if on our social media there's comments and questions after this show posts. So just warning you.
Hey,
if there's no comment,
that's no problem at all. We will definitely circle back and answer those as best we can.
Well, yeah, I got two. So one is just for anybody that wants to follow you on social media. Is it just Vinlandferth is the best name?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Vinlandferth. So we've got Vinlandferth.com. We've got Vinlandferth on Instagram. We've got Vinlandferth on Facebook. We have a Vinlandferth TikTok. We even have a Vinlandferth LinkedIn. So.
Yes. Awesome. And then my second question: what really drew you guys to like the Viking culture? And like made you, it's a fascinating culture, but like, what was kind of the draw for you that got you so into it?
Yeah, this is a huge commitment.
Yeah, it really is.
For me,
Go ahead, Keith.
For me, it was connecting with my ancestry as well as history. I'm a professional historian by training, and when I worked for the Park Service, I worked at Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania National Military Park. And one of the things I noticed was that all the visitors always wanted to connect with something from history. Whether they came there to go to the ground where their ancestors fought, or because they admired someone that had participated in the battle like Stonewall Jackson and they wanted to connect with him. So this is a way for us to connect with our ancestors and to connect with history. If you really want to be a Viking, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm Viking. You really want to be a Viking, you have to understand that Vikings were people who joined a boat crew and went on a raid. Not every warrior in Scandinavia was a Viking. They were a specific group of people that volunteered and got on those boats and rowed across the ocean and conducted the raids. And that's the Viking. So to me, to be a Viking, you got to be a member of a boat crew, and that's what we did. We created our own boat, and we recruited our crew, and we are getting in touch with our ancestry and connecting with history. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
My question is: are you going to have alcohol on the ship? Because that's a long time without any beer.
No. So we're island hopping. We're only going to be underway for maybe 10 days at the longest stretch. So it's only 2 to 4 days between Roskilde and Lerwick. It's 2 to 4 days between Lerwick and Torshaven. It's 6 to 10 days between Torshaven and Reykjavik. I think we're looking at 5 to 8 days between Reykjavik and Bradlith, and then another 6 to 10 days between Bradlith and La Meadows. So it's really not that long a time to go without beer, but with our primary sponsor being Danksmjød, there will be mead at every port.
At every port.
Perfect. I'm game. All right, Charles, last question, and we're going to hit the time to shine.
Sure, yeah. So I'm assuming you have a fixed keel. About how much keel do you have, or what kind of draw water do you need also?
So we're looking at about 2 feet of draft. The keel, so the hull shape is very U-shaped. I would say, as far as modern allegory, it's closest to the amphibious craft, the amphibs that we have in the Navy today with their flat bottoms. It's not entirely flat, but it's much more U-shaped than it is V-shaped, and that gives us greater stability going through the heavier seas that we're looking at.
Gotcha. And also, I mean, being Vikings, you do realize that all these Vikings that went on all these raids were taking these things called magic mushrooms. Is that part of your mead?
No alteration underway. What the crew does in foreign ports is definitely at their discretion, except for the fermented shark in Iceland. That's a no-go for anybody.
So not on your first voyage anyways.
Yeah, at the very least.
Okay.
All right. Well, if nobody else has any more questions, I think without further ado, it's that time. It is the time to shine. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for coming on the show, waking up with us. I really appreciate it. Maybe there's something that you guys want to get off your chest that I didn't ask that question, or somebody didn't give that answer to provoke that question. This is your 2 minutes to shine, to talk about anything and everything that you would like, especially how the military community can help you from this point on till your voyage starts.
I think Amber's probably the best one to field that question.
Oh goodness,
We'll go with her.
Well, there's so many ways. We're always posting on social media, just sharing the word, spreading, the videos that we post, that kind of support. Also visiting our website. We do have merchandise for sale up there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, beanies, sweatshirts, things like that. And all of those proceeds go to us training our crew and, continuing to build this ship and just kind of supporting the whole operation. So whether it's the website, whether it's social media, just helping us get the word out and, reaching out to us and giving us that support means more than anything. We also do have a GoFundMe, which is available on our website and also available on social media platforms, where we are always accepting donations to further our training with our crew and whatever else we might need for the mission at hand.
And I could not stop. I could not finish this interview without giving a huge shout out to my buddies that are watching, and your good friend and our good friend Ace from Bulletproof Podcast.
He's so awesome.
Has joined us to say hi, so you can see them in the comments. I think you guys have already been interviewed with her, or you guys are fixing the interview with her soon.
We have done one episode with Ace so far. Yes,
she's amazing, isn't she?
She is phenomenal.
Her resume is bigger than my credit report. Oh my God. Yeah. I love her to death. Well, I not only do I wish you guys good luck, but here at MBR, our prayers and our wishes and our thoughts are going to be with not only you, but with your families, because this is a tremendous, not only honor, but this is a tremendous mission that you guys are getting ready to accomplish. And I don't know about you, I get scared on a cruise ship. I can't even imagine being on a Viking ship. So my prayers and everything go towards you guys, and keep us up to date with everything that's going on, and we'll make a little commercial doing the updates while you guys are onward doing this. And anything that you guys need, make sure you guys reach out and let us know. With that being said, thank you so much for being on with us this morning, and we really appreciate it. Everybody, once again, we have been talking to the nonprofit Vinlandferth. I still can't pronounce that name, even after 30 minutes. We were joined by Doug Klein, Keith Alexander, and Amber. I can't pronounce that last name.
Wisby.
Wisby.
So thank you guys for being with us. We really appreciate it, and let us know if there's anything that we can do from now until then to help you guys.
You bet. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. All right, everybody, that is that time where we are going to not only go on a music break, but we're going to the tribute to the troops. Now, this tribute to the troops is a little special and unique because Tracer, who sponsors it, she is at her college like reunion graduation kind of thing. So it's interesting to see how well her mic worked, to see how well it went. If you have a veteran loved one that's passed or in the past, send them to us. We would love to do a tribute because we believe that their name should be honored at all times. With that being said, stay with us, everybody. When we come back, we'll be hitting the fact or cap. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show here on the station that's letting our veterans' voices be heard, MBR. Stay with us.
Detail attention.
First call, the service member's name is called out loud in the context of a unit. This is meant to ensure all are present and accounted for. Second call, the name is called out again, louder, to confirm that the service member is indeed absent. Third call, the name is called out for a final time, followed by a statement indicating that the service member is not present and accounted for, signifying their death. The final roll call serves as a symbolic gesture to respect and remember their service.
Sir, I don't know how to tell the story.
Well, you got to, Joe. You tell the people what these men did here. You tell them how my troopers died.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to MBR today as we pay tribute to Gary Chadwick Tillman, age 54, of Fallbrook, California. Chad was born on March 29, 1972 in Savannah, Georgia, to Gary and Marilyn Tillman. Gary, known to his friends as Chad, grew up with a spirit for duty and a heart of compassion that defined his life. After high school, he enlisted in the Marine Corps and was a drill instructor, serving 12 years with honor and distinction. The discipline he learned in the Marines carried over into his life after service. After his enlistment, Chad found his calling as a truck driver, which matched his love of big rigs and driving the open road. If he wasn't on the road, Chad was spending time with his wife and children, cheering on his favorite team, the San Diego Padres. According to the California Highway Patrol, on June 11, 2026, in Fallbrook, California, a Toyota minivan was rear-ended by a Honda CR-V driven by a 21-year-old man, sending the Honda into the median. Chad, a driver for an East County sand and gravel company, was on the road northbound 15 freeway near Highway 76 for a delivery when he came upon the crash scene just after 4 a.m. He called 911 before getting out of his truck to help. Chad and another woman who stopped to help were standing on the driver's side of the Honda CR-V when another car collided with the CR-V, striking them both. Both died at the scene. The 21-year-old driver from the initial collision was booked on DUI charges. His friends were not surprised that he stopped to help, as that was who he was. Chad is survived by his wife, Stephanie, daughters, granddaughters, mother, extended family, and friends, as well as his brothers and sisters in arms. We here at MBR would like to thank you, Gary Chadwick Tillman, for your service and dedication to our country. You leave a legacy of love and courage. Our prayers are with your family, friends, and those who served alongside you. You are truly missed.
I'll pinch it. Ready.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down here the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Stand on these front lines. He'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by Work Simple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.we.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show on the station that's giving our veterans a voice. MBR. And, real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to our sound guy who's making everything possible, HG. He's killing it today. We just wanted to real quick say thank you for that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And, well, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. It is the time where we're going to do what we like to call, is it fact or is it cap?
Is it fact? Is it fact or cap? You tell me.
Flight in
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I messed that up. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Air pressure while in flight can change your taste buds. Fact or crap? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll reply with my answer. Have a good one.
All right, so that is the question, everybody. Charles, when's the last time you took a flight?
Oh, not that long ago. Month or two.
Did you know that when you're on a flight that everything tastes a little bit different? Because I didn't know that. Did you, HG?
I don't believe it.
I'd never really noticed.
Yeah, I don't believe it because I've eaten the same stuff on the plane and off the plane, and it tastes exactly the same to me.
So, question for the viewers. And remember, if you answer any of these questions or give any input, your name will be put in a drawing for a beaker. Which, like I said, the original beaker, the first one, will be going to Carolyn from Conversation with Vets. She has a show hosted here on MBR every Sunday. I believe it's 6 p.m., either 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check our local listings for that information. The question is, have you ever noticed that food or drinks taste different when you're flying? What tastes better or worse? I think alcohol. And the reason why I say alcohol is I find that you kind of get drunk a little bit faster when you're on a flight. That's what I've
That doesn't
noticed.
have to do. That's not like a taste bud thing though. That's just it's the air pressure or altitude.
Okay.
Basically is because like people in color. I think it like helps. I don't remember which way it goes, but like since we live like up at altitude, like it's different drinking up here than it is at sea level. So that's just, it's the same thing where it's like
you can drink twice as much.
No, I agree with that because when I came from when I came home from Germany and I got stationed at Fort Carson, I was drinking Long Island iced teas because I just could not get drunk here in Colorado. It definitely does something. And the final question: if you could have any restaurant, reduces your attendance to. My sis is a flight attendant. Awesome. We need to talk to her, Joy, about getting some flight tickets or guest tickets. If you could have any restaurant meal served perfectly on an airplane, what would you choose and why?
That's a good question. Any food?
Any food.
Or any restaurant?
Any restaurant, yeah. That's one thing I do like about like going overseas is you get a bunch of meals. Like when I went to Australia, I swear to God, I ate like 4 times a day because of like the time change. She doesn't give away any. that doesn't surprise me. What would you eat, Charles?
Do what?
What would you eat if you had your choice of a meal on plane?
You know what? I'm a big guy, so I like to keep it simple. I'm probably wider than the average seat on a plane, so Just give me a sandwich or something and I'm all good. Because if I got to have a tray down, my legs are too long for the tray to sit down. Yeah. Just give me something simple. Turkey club or something without the tomatoes.
I'm thinking McDonald's. I like McDonald's. I know that's terrible, but I like McDonald's.
I was
really
honestly
do.
gonna say something like Taco Bell.
Yeah, you know.
It's kind
Yeah, you definitely want to take a trip to the bathroom
ambitious.
on the plane.
It would be, if you could get Taco Bell on your flight, like it's just such a reliable choice.
Now I wonder if it changes your taste buds when you're on an airplane. Does it cut calories? Just wondering. That's one thing I wondered about, like airplanes, like a pilot. There's no speed limits in the plane. So can you just like step on the gas and just fly a little bit faster? Shed some time. I find that whenever I go somewhere using Waze or whatever, it's like a gambling thing. Okay, it says I'm gonna be there at this time, and I try to find myself trying to compete with the time. Oh, I can get there before that time, So I learned it from my unconverted truck drive. I never stopped unless I had to get gas or I had to use the bathroom. Trying to do all of those in the same time to make less trips. But yeah, that's one thing I always wondered.
Oh, now I'm also thinking like, does being on like the inverse of an airplane, does being on a submarine also?
Oh, that's a good question.
That change, like, how's that change your taste buds?
Pressure.
That means maybe if I wonder if I took a plane ride, if Guinness would taste any different. I remember when I went on my honeymoon to Ireland, my wife looked at me and she's like, well, they say that in Ireland, the Guinness tastes way different than the Guinness here in the States. And I tried it and I'm like, nope, it still tastes like crap. So, I wonder. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think in the comments, your suggestions, your ideas, and we'll read those as the week progresses. It is that time. It is our final segment. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Final thoughts.
At Project ML, gratitude. Our mission is simple: to give motorcycles to veterans who need the kind of peace and freedom that only a ride can give. We sponsor charity events and rides to generate donations and fund the acquisition of some bikes, while direct bike donations make up the rest. We seek to provide a little motorcycle healing to capable vets.
Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and the question for everybody, Charles.
Yes.
We're going to start with you today. Thank you for sitting in with
Okay.
Amber.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully you have fun. This is the second time you sat in for. I hope you have fun on the program.
Yeah, I haven't talked to many Vikings lately, so hey.
And I haven't really let you talk either, so I apologize. And this is that time where, we talk about what we learned today. Charles, you go first today. What did you learn today?
I learned that I'm not the only adventurous soul out there, It takes a special kind of person to decide to throw together a shiplap boat with some pitch, some tars, maybe some tree sap to hold it together with some wooden pegs and go from one island to the next or whatever it is they're doing. So kudos to them. I'm glad that they have the fortitude and the just the cojones to do something like that.
HG?
Well, I learned a couple of interesting bits about history. First of all, Operation Husky. Never heard of that before, but that was really interesting to learn about. And then what Keith was saying also about the how you earned the title of Viking. It wasn't just everyone in Scandinavia wasn't a Viking. You had to be it was in a way you had to enlist to go sail the ocean and to go on the raids, and that was how you earned the title Viking. So that was something else I didn't know.
I think the biggest thing that I learned today, well, not really I learned today. I think the biggest thing that I'm reminded is that everybody needs a purpose. Everybody needs a purpose. And as veterans, sometimes when we get out of the military, we search and we try to find that purpose. And we're very negative, not only to ourselves, but to other people when we don't have a purpose, because you don't have something that you're concentrating on. You're concentrating on, what's wrong with my life compared to somebody else's. And having a purpose not only helps the community in some way or some form, but it gives you another mission, because in the military, we're just taught that we have to have a mission. We have to have a mission. We have to have some kind of a schedule. We have to have some type of an orientation of our life, because if we don't have an orientation of our life, then we're just, we feel incomplete. And for these individuals to pick this mission of this ship, that's huge. That's a huge commitment, especially if they're married and they have partners and stuff like that. So I commend them for doing this. I commend them for trying to make history. And I know several people that have done I forget what they call it, like the long boats. It's not the Viking boats, but the long boats. I know several people that have went on this. And, the ocean, it's not a very good place. It's unforgiving. It's a hell. You've seen the commercials. You've seen the show of The Deadliest Catch. They are going into a nightmare, and we're hoping that they come back with a pleasant dream. So our prayers and our thoughts are definitely with them. And that's what I learned today. And I'm going to go ahead and hit this to where, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. It is today's safety briefing.
Weekend Safety Brief.
Make sure that you don't beat your wife or don't beat your partner. If you by chance come up with an argument or a disagreement with a person, walk away. Don't engage with them, because engaging with them, especially when they're hostile, not going to do anybody any favors. Also, if you're planning on going boating this weekend, make sure that you have a life preserver. And even if the sun isn't out, remember those rays, they'll hit you even if the sun isn't out. So make sure you wear sunscreen. Wildlife. If you go out on a hike here in Colorado, make sure that you don't touch the mooses, because it isn't bullwinkle. They will hurt you. All right. And if you're planning on doing the Saturday special, and I don't need to spell that out, right? Make sure that you're wearing a raincoat, because it can get pretty wet in that situation. And last but not least, make sure that if you're going to drink, have a plan. Don't drink and drive. An Uber is a lot cheaper than going to court. And especially if you have pets, make sure that you're loving on them this weekend, because you never know when they're going to pass away. And before we leave, I just want to remind everybody that we do have that cartoon, All Dogs Deserve Dads. It is on the Roku channel, and you can check that out. I encourage you to watch that, because sometimes losing a pet, it is devastating. But remember, there's a dog in a dog pound. that is looking through a gate hole and they're just waiting to be adopted, kind of like Charles did with Flynn. Is Flynn available? You can hold him up and everybody can.
I had to put him upstairs because he was trying to chew some wires.
Love puppies. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our program today. Next week, we're going to be talking with Chris Ann. She is the founder and CEO of the Resurrecting Life nonprofit. So we'll be finding out what they are and what they do for our veterans today and what they continue doing today. So that said, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you here next Friday. And remember, from everybody here at MBR and the crew, we're here for you, not for us. And they all said, giving our veterans a voice. Have a great weekend, everybody. We love you, and we thank you for choosing us for your morning coffee. Have a great one. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.